A little over a third of the way through today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Phoenix International Raceway. Second to last race in the championship. Jimmy Johnson, the leader. Carl Edwards, ninth. As you watch them run on the racetrack, that means the gap between them as they run is 158 points.
Yeah, and we know in the beginning of the show, we heard Jimmy Johnson talking about wanting to leave here with a 162-point lead. He's well on his way to that. He's already led 43 laps today.
I tell you, qualifying has been really tough now. Track position has been everything in the world. Jimmy Johnson's got it right now. Carl Edwards has only picked up 8 spots. That's kind of unusual for Carl Edwards. He's usually a big-time charger, but it's hard to pass at this flat racetrack.
We're seeing somewhat of a reversal of last week. Jimmy Johnson's got the dominant car this week. He's out front, heading out, going to lead. Looks like he's leading the most laps. Carl's struggling a little bit back there in traffic.
How about our Ford up to speed? Let's check in on the championship and race leaders. Pit, Dave, what's going on?
How did they get this race car so good, Alan? Information from the spring race, information from this weekend. The qualifying setup on this car did not work in race trim, but they went back to this spring when they ran very well during the daytime practices, even though it was a night race. They put that daytime practice setup on this car, and it came to life. They knew that it was what they wanted to run during the race. Mike?
Dave, you want to get an idea how much there's been a turnaround with the 26 car? Well, consider this. Coming into today, they had led 131 laps in the last 7 races. Prior to that, they led only 112 in their previous 86 races. So obviously they've hit on something. Jamie attributes it to the way they've been able to adjust the race car, but as crew chief Larry Carter says, he's just been much more confident over the last month. That's translated to better qualifying efforts and better runs. Meanwhile, the guy behind him, well, that's Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's certainly looking to end this season on a high note. Only 1 victory this year so far. His crew chief Tony Uri Jr. told me that over the last couple of weeks, they've really been in testing mode, trying to figure some stuff out so that they begin 2009 real strong. They have learned a couple things the last couple of weeks, applied it to this race car, things they think can help them get to victory lane today, Shannon.
Well, behind him in 4th place is his teammate, Jeff Gordon. You heard earlier they were having a little bit, or thought they were having an engine problem. So far, so good. Jeff Gordon holding 4th. Now, this is their Martinsville car that they brought here this weekend, but the setup was a mixture between Loudon and Richmond. But I spoke with Steve Letarte, crew chief for Jeff Gordon. He said the setup is one thing. If we want to win here at Phoenix, it is going to be a combination of a lot of things. Pit road, track speed, and of course the driver. Jamie.
Kurt Busch and this 2-team mixing things up. They're trying the new R6 motor. They actually have had it the last few weeks, but last weekend didn't work out so well. They blew a motor and he finished 41st. What a comeback this weekend. Started off this race, led 60 laps, right now hanging in the top 5. Behind him, Casey Mears in the 5 car. He's had some great runs here at Phoenix, but never finished in the top 10. He's been top 10 all day today. Now, he tested with the 07 team at Richard Childress Racing last Tuesday. They said it went great, but right now, Casey's just focused on getting a win with his last 2 races here with Hendrick Motorsports. Mike?
The 11 team, a very hungry team, Jamie, looking for a win. They finished inside the top 3 of the last 4 Phoenix races. They felt like coming into today, they had a legitimate shot at going to victory lane. Right now, the balance a little bit off, loose in and loose off. Still trying to get it a little bit better. They're not where they need to be, Shannon.
Well, it was a pretty busy happy hour practice for Kevin Harvick and the 29 team. They did have to change their battery and their alternator. They found some electrical problems. They do not know what the issue was. The team told me they just changed it and they thought everything was good, definitely keeping their fingers crossed. So far, so good with this 29 car, though. Kevin Harvick says the only issue is he needs a little bit more forward bite. Mike?
Coming into today with a 106-point deficit, Carl Edwards says, we're not feeling any pressure. We're just having fun and digging as deep as we possibly can. Conversely, he says, the pressure is all on Jimmy Johnson. But right now, as you can see, if he wants to apply more pressure to Johnson, he needs to pick it up. But he's been awfully loose most of the day, Alan.
All right, so that's where Carl runs, and just behind him rounding out the top 10, Kyle Busch started 14th. Thought we might see him move up a little bit here, but he's just kind of stuck right there at the backside of the top 10.
Maybe we've seen by the end of the day. It looks like that race car is getting a little bit better.
Caution's out, caution's out.
This caution for debris.
Debris in 2, they're saying.
In turn 2. And the yellow flag waves for the 4th time in this race after a very long green flag run. And that yellow, I think, a break for Greg Biffle, who had gotten himself a little out of sequence on pit strategy, but it might pay off for him here.
Greg's going to take advantage of this opportunity, I think, Greg.
Yeah, he's going to have to come down and get some tires. He stayed out a little bit longer, put him behind, but it didn't look like it worked out too badly for him. He's moved back up to 13th now. Needs a good pit stop here and get himself back up in the top 10.
Yep. Boy, David Ragan, he was getting close to getting lap 2, but Jimmy Johnson had barely held on because of that caution. Good job.
Yep. Free pass on this one goes to Juan Pablo Montoya. He will get to come around and rejoin the lead lap at the conclusion of the yellow flag, so that'll give us 20 cars on the lead lap. And Bob Osborne saying, what do I have to do to this car to get my driver some track position and a car he can go race Jimmy Johnson for this win? Here they come. Pit stops will be at the conclusion of lap 142. Johnson leading them down the pit lane. Shannon.
Alan, Jeff Gordon says the car's tight in the middle and loose off. They're going to get a little aggressive with this pit stop. Go half a round up on the track bar and 4 tires for this 2014. Jamie.
And Kurt Busch, they're going to make a track bar adjustment, air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for the 2 car who's been hanging in the top 5. Mike.
Jamie McMurray a little bit tight middle to make a chassis adjustment, putting a round in on the left side, 4 tire change and 1 can of Sunoco race fuel. Dave.
Jimmy Johnson reporting tighter and tighter, a wedge adjustment and air pressure adjustment. 4 tires. Looks like this time he does win the race off pit road.
Race off of pit road. Jimmy Johnson will stay there as a leader. Earnhardt Jr. gains a spot, as does Jeff Gordon. McMurray back 2. And the other ones in the top 10 holding their position. So under caution for the 4th time today on lap 141. And watch the reaction of Jeff Gordon's bunch. They are pretty pumped about getting him on and off in less than 13.5 seconds. Back after this message and a word from our ABC station.